All right, it's the end of the session. I'm here with my buddy Bo. Breya. Breya. This is Miss Breya. Can you come up here, Breya? You got to come up here. Come on. Come on, you can do it. There we go. This is Miss Breya. She's the senior girl. And so we mostly work with Mr. Bo here. These are her treats. You got a whole bunch of treats. I'm going to give them to her, and I'm going to hold this so you drool on me a little bit. This is their roadmap to success. Now, we just got done going out for about an hour walk with him. He did amazing. We did basically what we saw in that video above, the engage-disengage game. The Guardian has already done some work with some trainers, and so she's already done that, but they left out a couple of components. And the most important thing for that video, the engage-disengage game, is the dog does not react. And we make the dog not react by managing the distance between us and the other dog. And you can sit here if you want, or you can go inside if you need to do stuff, whatever you want to do. It's up to you. I'm not chasing you away. All right, so we started off this session by going over marker words. We also went over hand targeting. We went over dog consent and celebrating. Now I send kind of a link to my clients that has all those videos attached, so it won't be here on this post. But then we started getting into some more in-depth stuff, like the importance of rules. If we want our dog not to bark, not to lunge, not to run out the door, whatever it is, they have to practice impulse control. And the way for dogs to practice impulse control is creating a scenario where they have to wait for something, or they have to do something first. And so I define the rules, things the dog likes to do, has the ability to do, can do, but doesn't do without a permission. So like opening the door to your crate and conditioning your dog that the rule is you have to wait there until I give you the release word. The door is open, the crate is not keeping the dog in there, the dog is choosing to stay in there on their own. So some of the rules that I incorporate is making the dog sit before I invite him up on the couch, sit before I put the harness on, sit before I open the door. Notice these are all sit. You can do other things as well, just for dogs, sit is a pretty easy way to do it. Yes, good job, buddy. She just laid down, so I gave her a treat. She's like, why do I not get all the treats for this thing? All right, so let me see. So having some rules helps the dog see the human enforcing the rule. And I don't mean by punishing, but just tell the dog to sit. Let's say you're going to go out for a walk. Go to the door, put the dog, or maybe tell the dog to sit before you put the harness on. If he doesn't sit within 3 seconds, I walk away and I sit down and I wait 1 minute. And then after 1 minute, I come back to him and I tell him to sit again. One time, he has 3 seconds to comply. If he doesn't, I walk away and sit down for 2 minutes. Next time I sit down for 4 minutes, 8 minutes. I keep doubling the length of time. But eventually when he sits, I say yes, and I give him a treat, or in this case, put the leash on, and then go to the door. And then tell him to sit at the door. If he doesn't sit, I drop the leash and go sit down and watch TV. Practicing when you don't need it is the best practice for dogs. A lot of times we try to teach dogs when we're late for work, or we're trying to take them on a walk, or we're trying to do something, and a time constraint kicks in. And now time is working against you, and you're cheating and rushing the dog along. So whenever possible, try to find a scenario where you can help your dog practice without needing to actually do it. Practice leashing your dog up when you're not taking it for a walk. Practice having it sit at the door when you're not planning on opening the door. So that way, if the dog doesn't do it, you can just sit down and watch TV, write a song, play your guitar, play video games, whatever it is. The dog is the one who's missing out. I don't believe in punishing dogs, but I do believe in rewarding dogs when they do what we want and nothing happening if they don't. It's not a punishment, but the motivation for the dog is to want to do the thing, because if I sit, I get a treat. If I wait in the kennel, I get a treat, whatever it is. So kind of as a basic construct, ask yourself, if my dog has difficulty doing this activity, how can I make this activity into multiple steps? So I just went over this earlier today, but I'll do it again. So like leashing the dog up. So if you walk over to the leashes and the dog gets excited as soon as you walk to where the leash is, don't go any further. Sit down, watch TV, wait for your dog to settle down. And then after the dog relaxes, then go back and do it again. And so instead of doing A, B, C, all the way to Z, I just do step A over and over again. And if step A is too much, I might have an A1 and an A2. So you want to break it down to small enough steps where the dog can achieve and be successful. And then you repeat that step over and over again until the dog has it down. Then you do step 1 and add the next step after it. So you're kind of chaining these things together. But the most important thing is we go at the dog's pace. One of the things I found as a dog behavior expert is that most people go at our pace. We practice too long, or we practice in a situation where, yes, the dog is, the deck is stacked against the dog. I cheat whenever possible by setting things up for the dog. Yes, I know I shouldn't be petting you on top of the head, but you're drooling and I didn't want to get a lot of drool on my hand. But you're very handsome. All right, so find a way to break whatever the activity down to a small bite-sized step. Practice methodically step 1, then eventually 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, and 3, until you work your way through the whole thing. Once you've worked your way through the whole thing, then you can start making it more real world. So you might practice in your living room, and then once you've taught the dog all the steps, you have to wait. Patience is a virtue. We talked about impulse control. Once we've learned the dog knows how to do all the steps, that should be in the easiest capacity possible. Then we start practicing making it harder. I have a loose leash walking program that I do. And when I do that, we teach the dog the skill in the living room first. And we practice that, and I use the 4 for 5 out of 5 proofing method. So if I'm doing an exercise with the dog, if I do it out of 5 times in a row, if the dog does it 0, 1, or 2 out of the 5 times in a row, that means it's probably too hard. I need to find a way to make it in multiple steps or easier. And once the dog can achieve 3 times in a row, that means you're at the right level. Keep on practicing 3 out of 5. You don't want to move on to the next one until your dog can do it consistently, correctly 4 or 5 out of 5 times in a row. However, there's somebody singing. When we learn a new skill, we don't stop practicing it. And that's what we do for dogs. We teach them sit, 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 sit. Once the dog knows how to sit, we kind of stop practicing. We just ask them to sit here and there. So once the dog knows something, I like to practice success a little bit. So practice 5 times successful. Next time, practice 5 times successful. Next time, 5 times successful. Then I go to the next level, the next stage. And the next stage, if we do the first stage, is in the living room. Once the dog can do it consistently 5 out of 5 times, then I would do it in the back deck. Now we're outside. There's smells, but it's not on the street, so there's not a lot of public stuff. And you can go ahead and feed him if they want. You gonna go eat? There we go. And I practice on the back deck until the dog can do it 4 out of 5 times in a row consistently. Then I do it in the backyard. Now we're in the yard, it's a little bit more difficult. There's more stimulus. So we're gradually ramping our dog up. Eventually I do it in the front yard, then on the sidewalk, then in the neighbor's yard. So by the time we get to the neighbor's yard, the dog has practiced being successful in progressively more challenging scenarios. And that's what we do for us. We don't learn to drive our car on the freeway. We learn it in a parking lot. So apply the same methodology for your dog. All right, so let me see, what else did we go over? We went over celebrating is a fundamental thing. It's on the other link that I'm going to send to you, but make sure you practice the heck out of that. Put Post-it notes around your place. Celebrate here or there, especially in areas where they're going to do things. You just almost tripped in the kitchen. And so the idea is you're reminding yourself to pet when the dog sits, comes, lays down. We were talking about drop. So every time, Breya likes to pick something up in her mouth and orally fixate her, occupy her mouth when people come over. That's how she copes. That's wonderful. But if she doesn't want to give her thing up, what I do for drop is I just have a treat. I just walk up to the dog and hold it up to their lips while they have the thing in their mouth. I don't say a word. When they drop it, I say yes and put the treat in their mouth, and I don't pick the object up. So I want to practice kind of, we talked about stages. If I want my dog to drop underwear or remote controls or whatever, I'm going to start with their toys. Things that they play with that I don't ever have any interest in. A lot of times dogs don't want to drop things because when they drop them, what do? We take them away. So remember, if you're going to take something away from your dog, first teach it to drop by holding the treat to their lips. As soon as they start dropping consistently, when we do it, then you would say drop, present the treat to the lips, they drop it, you say yes and give them a treat, and then they'll pick up the object. And after a while, the dog's like, okay, when I drop stuff, you give me something better than what I got, and I get my original stuff back. If you have to take the thing away, make sure you have a stash of like bully sticks, duck feet, turkey necks, tracheas, oxtails, whatever these are, in your cupboard. So that way, if you do have to take something away from your dog, you can trade them something equal or greater value. A lot of dogs don't do things for us because it represents the end of fun or a loss for them. So make sure that your dog always has a win. The power of positive reinforcement is the dog wants to do the thing you want because there's something in it for them. But if you take things away and don't give them anything back, they're going to not drop it. All right, so we also talked about, let me see, we didn't talk about this, but one of the things I like to do is something called the pause interrupter. Most dogs respond to a beep, 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 or puppy, puppy, puppy. Now, when you use words, you want to say it 3 or 4 times in a row in a high-pitched frequency, very close together. Puppy, puppy, puppy. I have football players occasionally I'll work with, I say it, and they're like, puppy, 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 and the dog doesn't respond. If you say it in a quick cadence 3 or 4 times in a row in a high-pitched voice, most dogs will stop what they're doing. Now, all attention for dogs is rewarding. Whatever your dog is doing right before you give it attention, whether it's jumping up on you, barking, stealing things, whatever it is, and you say no, you're rewarding your dog, and you're making your dog more likely to do that behavior. So let's say the dog is looking out the window and sees somebody is about to start barking. I might say, the dog looks at me. I'm not giving attention. I'm just making a sound that finds interesting. It looks at me, and then I might say, boop. The dog runs over, touches his nose to my hand. I give it a treat, and then I might give it some carrots. I might give it a lick mat. I might take it for a walk. I might take it in the other room, do some training. I've positively redirected the dog away from the thing without making it a no. So the dog learns, I will jump up on guests because I get attention for jumping up on guests. Say that we were on the walk, one of them, Bo jumped up on you and then sat down. And what a lot of people do, the dog jumps up, we say get down, and they sit down and we pet them. They think that's one combined thing. So if a dog jumps up on you, I just cross my arms across my chest because I deal with a lot of big dogs. I look up and I just freeze. I give them nothing. All attention is rewarding. So dog does a behavior I don't want, it makes me a statue, the boringest, lamest person ever. I freeze, the dog gets done, and then it gets down, I tell it to sit. If it sits within 3 seconds, I say yes, and I pet or reward it. If it doesn't, I don't reward it. So when we do that, I call that a stopgap measure. So the dog jumped up on me, it made me lame or boring. The dog jumps down because it's not reinforced. Then I tell it to sit. When it sits, I'm marking and rewarding the sit. Now, celebrating also really reinforces it a lot. The more that you pet your dog when it voluntarily sits and comes and lays down, the more it's going to do those behaviors to get your attention. So again, please get in the habit of celebrating. We also, let me see, what else do we go over? Get a snuffle mat, the Rundick snuffle mat, R-U-N-D-I-C-K. Put their kibble in that. That's like a short walk. So I think getting them a little bit of indoor exercise can be really helpful. And a snuffle mat is like a short walk. Well, I also did the guess which hand game. So what it is, I have a treat in one hand, the other hand's empty. I put my hands behind my back. If this is the dog's head, I want my hands on either side equal distance. I don't want to be this way or this way, equal distance and at nose level, not too high. If the dog goes this way, I flip over my hand and it shows there's nothing there. Put my hands behind my back. I don't usually switch the treat, I do it again. And when it finally fixes this one, I would say yes, and then flip my hand over, the dog licks up the treat. Eventually the dog will start sniffing which hand has it. Dogs have a tremendous sense of smell, and sniffing burns a lot of energy. So eventually this is a game that you can do with your dog, and they have to use their nose to find it. That drains a lot of energy. You could also do like a solo cup with one of them has a treat underneath it. I'm dropping treats, and the other one has nothing. And you kind of slide it around like you're doing a 3-card Monte or whatever that thing is. And then the dog nudges one. If it's the wrong one, you just pick it up, put it back down, do it again. If it nudges the right one, yes, then we pick it up. Remember, yes is your way of saying good dog in a way that Bo and Breya understand as good dog. When you say good dog, they know that you're giving them attention. They know that you are interested in what they're doing, but they don't quite exactly know what it is. That's the power of yes, is they know for sure I've done the right thing. Remember, yes needs to come the instant the dog does the thing you want, not after or before. And an example I explain to people is if you're going to tell me to turn right on Lincoln, or whatever the street is, if I pass Lincoln and you tell me to turn right, I can't do it. I've already passed it. So remember, the cue is the indicator, the label, the direction to tell the dog what to do. Sit. If it doesn't, then we say yes. Then we give them the reward, and that kind of completes the circle. Let me see, what else did we go over? We talked about rules. Feeding out of a snuffle mat. Trying to think of other things we went over. We went over a lot. We talked about a lot on the walk. And so I don't want to go over too much of that, but if you have any questions, please call or text me. If I don't hear from you, I assume everything's going well. I have 10,000 videos. So if something's not going well, I can send you a video of another dog doing the activity. You can kind of see what's going on, or we can talk on the phone a little bit and come up with a good solution, or how you can achieve the next level, or whatever it is. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's about it. I think, yeah, I think you're inside. I think you're talking to somebody. I think you have an earpiece on. That's why I look like you're just talking to nobody. All right. Well, yeah. If you have questions on any of this stuff, let me know. If I don't hear from you, I assume everything's going well. So I don't care if it's 2 seconds after I finish this video, 2 years from now, or 10 years from you, whatever. If you have questions or problems, please let us know. And then, one other thing on the walks. 2 things. Have a treat in your hand at all times. I like to walk with the clicker. The clicker is more distinct than yes. So what I do is just walk. Every time the dog looks at you, click, and then hold a treat down. The dog has to come back to you. After a while, the dog will start paying attention to you faster. Now, if the dog's not paying attention to you, it might mean the environment's too busy or you haven't done the fundamentals. The fundamentals is what I like to do, is what I call the long walk. So what I go is I go outside, I go about 10 paces and I stop. And I the dog can go wherever it can go and reach in that 10-foot, or whatever the leash range is. And I stay there until the dog's looking at me within 30 seconds each time. Then I I go another 10 paces and I stop again. After a while, the dog stops learning to charge forward, and instead they're looking and checking in with you more often. The more they check in with you, the less they're looking for the boogie dog or are worried about something happening. Now, in case you get caught off guard, I want you to practice the U-turns. So to practice a U-turn, what you do is if Bo's right here, I show him I have a treat. I probably have a clicker in this hand. Touch the treat to his nose. Say the word. So touch the treat to his nose first. Say the word turn second. Then lure him around in a half circle. Take one step in the other direction, all with holding the treat to his lips. Then click or say yes, and then put the treat in his mouth. Then walk 6 to 12 paces that way and repeat the process. So every block, do 2 U-turns. So after a while, the dog starts getting used to, every once in a while, my mom just does a U-turn for no reason. So if you're walking down the street, and let's say it's a confined area, and you don't have any treats, you're not ready to play the engage-disengage game, you say turn, and the dog's like, oh, we're going to do a U-turn and go the other direction. And if you don't do that, then the dog's going to be like, oh, I'm looking back, what is back there? Now, I also do something called a find it away. Now, this is right after we got accosted by your really friendly neighbors, and so you might have forgotten it. So what we're doing, and this is, I think, literally what I was doing when the guy walked up. So basically, let's say that you're kind of trapped and you want to move the dog away from the sidewalk, but he's not listening. So I touch it. So I practice this when I don't need it. When I'm on walks, once a walk, I find a grassy area where I do this. So let's say that the other dog is here. There's grass here in a house up there. So what I do is I touch the treat to Bo's lips, and I just say find it and drop. I think I was saying hunt for the cookie in the corner exercise. So I say drop, and he licks it up. You say yes when he does it. Then you show him another treat, and you throw it 1 foot this way. He turns away from whatever it is there, and he gets the treat. You say yes. Then you say find it or hunt, and throw another treat about 3 feet away. He walks over there and gets it. You say yes. Then the next treat you throw about 5 feet away. Make sure he's looking at you, touch his lips, and then throw it. Don't ever throw it over his head. They'll just look up forever. So if you move him one right away, that's no distance. Then 1 foot, that's 1 foot. Then 3 feet. Now we're at 4 feet. Then 5 feet. We just moved around 9 or 10 feet away from the street. If you practice this on every walk, find an area where you don't have a nosy neighbor, and then practice this. Find it, yes, or find it or hunt or whatever it is, and move him away. And then when he gets done, then go back walking. So if you ever get caught, now you have 2 backups. You can do the U-turn or you can move them away. Now, when you're doing the engage-disengage, either recruit friends or make sure your head is on a swivel. You want to make sure that you're not caught up by surprise. Also, in the meantime, when you're walking him and you don't want to play the engage-disengage game, find a park or a place that you can walk him where you have a big grassy area so that if a dog starts walking towards you, you can turn and walk away. We ran into a couple people who just stood there with their dogs. A lot of people just are oblivious. And so our goal is to help Bo not practice barking by not exposing him to situations that you're not ready for. Now, when you're ready, then you have your clicker, you have your treats, and as you saw, we go through a lot of treats. So you might feed him a lighter meal when that's the case, but have more treats than you need to, because sometimes, like tonight, we went out, I thought it was going to be 10 minutes, we were out for an hour, and I ran out of treats. Luckily, you had some. So always have more treats than you need to, just in case. All right, now if you have any questions, like I said, let me know, and I'm happy to go over them. The other thing, I'll try to link it up. If I don't, make sure you message me. Cookie in the corner is the one where we're throwing the treat. You were kind of in and out for that one, so the video might help you with that. It's just another scent game that you can do in your house. All right, well, this is the roadmap to success for Bo and Breya. And remember, when it comes to dogs, everything you do trains your dog. Only sometimes you mean it.